Cheers, kids. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. What we have here is the collaboration beer that I did with Surly Brewing Company. It's a Gose. That's all you get to know. There's a whole timeline coming up in this video that kind of walks through the whole thing. So I'll let the details come from there. But before we hit that, I just want to know, how is it there's 100 people in the world, more than 100 people now, that find this entertaining? It's crazy to me. But cheers to you guys. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching my nonsense. It actually keeps me brewing. It keeps me motivated. It's weird. When I started doing the Homebrew Wednesday stuff, I didn't really know if it would stick, but I genuinely enjoy it, and I enjoy watching your stuff. So, cheers, everybody. Let's check out this Surly stuff. It's been a really an interesting beer for me to make. Kind of a one time only kind of deal. I don't think I'm going to get this chance again to brew a sour beer like this. So let's roll back in time a little bit and see what happened.
Green.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're on the internet.
Oh. Yeah, it's...
So you need to do your sign on.
Oh. Hey, everybody!
I'm on the internet!
I'm on the internet! And there's some other nerds over there.
Oh, yeah. There's Jake. Playing bags poorly. Poorly playing bags.
So look over, a bird was flying by and I thought it was a bag.
That's fail.
And my lemonade. It's Surly.
That's official Surly lemonade.
No, I have that hat on. It doesn't fit.
No.
I got it for free.
Yep.
My stylish.
Anyway, we're at Surly at the AHA rally. Drinking free beer. Enjoying free beer, absolutely.
It's a lot nicer here when it's not -10.
Yeah. It's awesome out here.
On the patio.
Yeah. Oh, they did a lot of work. This was not
No.
remotely when I was here. I want you to eat in the restaurant upstairs.
Anyway, Yondu nerds. Okay, it is day 3 of Surly Blood Orange Gose process? Something? So here's what we got going on. I pitched the German Ale 1007 yeast the night we got home from the rally, Sunday night. And now is Tuesday, mid-Tuesday. Fermentation is going pretty strong. There's pretty healthy krausen. Everything looks good. So this is the point that I'm going to add the salt and coriander that would normally go in the last 5 minutes of the boil. Basically, I'm going to make up a little like half-gallon DME wort, boil it off for 15 minutes, add the salt, coriander, chill it down, add it to the fermenter, which will work out good because I was actually a little low. I took a keg to transfer the wort back, so I had just under 5 gallons to start with. So this will top me up a little bit volume-wise, get the flavor in that I'm looking for, and I don't think it's going to affect the acidity much at all. So here's what we've got. Fancy pink Himalayan salt, and this is just a mortar and pestle full of 1 ounce of coriander I've been grinding. It smells pretty awesome. And I'm going to do 3/4 of an ounce of this pink salt to start with, and then kind of probably after fermentation we'll gauge the salt level, and if we need to bump it up, I should be able to do it with just some saltwater solution, I think, and nail the saltiness that I'm kind of looking for. So yeah, I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing. Hopefully, should be cool. Alright, here's our little boil. I should have had the camera on a minute ago, so we were flirting hard with the little boil over. Foam like an inch up out of this little pot. That could have been a disaster. I'm curious to see what happens when I add this salt to this small of a pot. I sort of forgot how much DME foams up if you put it in while the water's actually boiling, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Alright. Alright, we're gonna let this go for a couple minutes, just let the hot break happen, and we'll come back to it. Alright, we've been going about 10 minutes. Salt, coriander, and a little bit of yeast nutrient are going in. I figure yeast nutrient just to help the yeast finish out in the kind of low pH environment they're in. This surly wort, when we got it, they said the pH measured like 3.5, so not crazy low, but low enough that I think the yeast could probably use a little extra kick in the ass to get moving, so, or keep moving. They're moving pretty well right now, but so that's it. Boil this 5 minutes, chill her down, pitch it in, and then we'll talk about the secret ingredient. Okay, I've predictably created a volcano here. So I dropped the new wort in, probably stirred it up a little bit, just blew some CO2 off. It's not going too nuts, but it's we're going open fermentation for a while here because otherwise I'm just gonna blow the airlock completely off, and I don't know, I don't think it's gonna stay this crazy for long. So open fermentation, that's probably like legit German, right? Well, I was just about to film the secret ingredient portion of the program, and I thought fermentation has calmed down. This is perfectly a good time to throw this thing in. Until this. I'm pretty sure I caught this bad boy about 5 minutes before it exploded all over the top of my freezer. So, anyway, secret ingredient, putting that on hold. We'll try tomorrow. Later. Ooh, USA Game Day. Go USA. Okay, it is 5 days into the Surly Gose brew session. Fermentation's really slowing down now. We're still bubbling quite a bit, but the Krausen's dropped pretty far. So it's secret ingredient time, which is some Cascade Candy Syrup Company Blood Orange candy syrup. This stuff is super cool. I actually originally bought this. I was going to make a wit and do a blood orange wit, but then this lactose soured wort fell in my lap, so it just smells ridiculously orangey. This stuff's going to be awesome. So I'm going to drop this in the wort now. The guy that makes this stuff said if you really want to keep the flavor of it around, kind of drop it in right after high Krausen is dropped, so everything, you know, all the aromatics will just blow out the airlock. So I think we're pretty good timing right now, so I'm going to throw it in, and we'll see how long that takes to ferment out. Cheers. So when I dropped the blood orange syrup in, I, one, kind of wanted to sample just to see how it was progressing. Two, I kind of needed to make some room in this carboy because we're flirting with not very much headspace. So it's pretty cloudy still. I mean, it's pretty actively fermenting, but the smell of it is crazy. It smells like a feed mill. Like like a grain. It smells like freshly milled grain. Feed mill. I know nobody knows what a feed mill smells like, but it smells like the grain room at the homebrew store. Like I've never smelled a beer that smells like this. I don't know if it's the German ale yeast or if it's the just the wort. The wort is simple. It's just golden. Maybe it's the aromatic malt. I don't know that I've ever actually used aromatic malt. I don't know. It smells crazy. It's tart. I kind of wish it was tartar. But I guess I don't really know how far down this bad boy is fermented, so let's find out. Maybe we can stir a little of the carbonation out of there and spin it up. Holy shit. This probably won't be super accurate because of you can see all the carbonation in here, but just looking at this thing is only fermented down to like 1030, 1028, 1030. It's hard to tell through the foam, but it's high. I really thought it was going to be fermented down. It's really been actively fermenting pretty regularly, but I wonder if the yeast just isn't running as hard as I think because of the low pH it's in. That's interesting. I don't really know what to think about that. I've never messed with these kettle soured beers before. Maybe I'll have to get a hold of somebody. Maybe Milk the Funk knows. Part of that could be all the carbonate. This beer is crazy carbonated, just coming out of the carbon. I'm going to see if I can shake some of this carbonation out and see if I can get maybe a more accurate reading. But anyway, the tartness isn't crazy. It's there, but it's not as... I think I want it a little higher, so I'm going to kind of research how I can affect that some. And I bet we got, at the rate it's going, another week to ferment, which is sort of crazy. But anyway, Yandu. Alright, kids. I don't even know how many days in this is now. I was going camping for a week. I basically left this surly beer, this Gose, in the fermentation chamber at like 22 Celsius, which equates to some amount of degrees Fahrenheit. I would think around 70, 72, something like that. So, hello empty glass. I took a gravity sample of it today. I've been cold crashing it down because I didn't even take a gravity reading. I just assumed that it was had to be fermented out. How could it not be? It's clearing out. Let's put it in a glass like a civilized person and see what's happening with it. I got this new refractometer tube because I was an idiot and I broke mine. He pulled almost a whole pint. So, whatever. But so this is only fermented down to 1020 so far, and it's not going anymore. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I'm gonna try and make a big starter and throw a starter in it and see if I can get it to go down another 6-8 points. If I'm gonna let it roll like it is, time's not gonna do anything. It's been, I pushed fermentation temperatures and stuff, and I'm assuming just the low pH in this wort has just hindered the yeast to a point where the ones that are in there, they're done. So anyway, let's see what we got on this thing. Man, it smells good, but it still smells like grain dust. Like, it smells like when you go into the homebrew shop and you're milling grain and the whole room is sort of full of that grain dust. That's what you get on the nose. Now you get a little bit of fruit and a little bit of tart behind that, but it's still, this grain dust thing is right there. You really get it in the flavor. It's still not as tart as I would like. The salt, wow, as it warms too. The salt is really there. It is almost like a like a Gatorade level saltiness, where it's not outwardly salty, but Gatorade kind of has that, ooh, it's fruit, but it's a little bit salty thing. I don't know. It almost dries my tongue out, which is so weird for this being a 10-20 beer. It's like it drinks drier than it actually is. The orange from that blood orange syrup, it really comes through in the middle of the tongue. You really get the salt. It starts salty, which cuts right away into the blood orange, which turns a little tart. I think I want it just a tiny bit more tart. But I think I'm going to cold crash it and keg it. Honestly, it's a pretty decent drinking beer, and it's not carb. I think carb will help some. The hell kind of bird is that? There's some crazy bird outside. I think I'm going to roll with it. I don't know. I'm curious if anybody that watches this has any experience with kind of lactose-soured beers, if they just naturally finish higher. I don't know. This is the first one I've actually brewed myself, and I haven't measured anything. You know, like, I'm not going to go open a can of Gose and measure the final gravity on it, because I'm just not going to. But yeah, out of curiosity, if anybody's experienced this before, let me know. Otherwise, I think it's okay. Salty. I'm gonna dose it. I think I'm gonna dose it just a little bit with lactic acid, just to up the tartness on the finish, just a touch. But then I think it's gonna be a pretty solid beer. I'll have to. I don't know. I don't know. The whole thing is just bizarre, and it's something I've never done before. So it's kind of a cool thing so far. Anyway, cheers, nerds. So that brings us to today. As you can see, there's the beer. Let's do a tasting first. What do you say? The aroma is tart orange and grain. The whole grain room feed mill thing has faded, but it's still definitely there. It's a super cool aroma, actually. You get orange, but it's a tart. You get the tartness too, that lactic kind of tartness. If tart is a smell. On the flavor, you get tart and salt right away. But a good level of salt. The orange is there as a background, kind of a background all the way through. You get tart and then salt, and then kind of finishes grainy almost. Super dry. So I'm curious. This actually, the whole process has re-taught me a few things. Number one, patience. You can, the whole way through all those videos, I keep, it's not tart enough, it's not tart enough, it's not tart enough, it's not tart enough. Even right before I kegged it, not tart enough. Do I need to dose it with lactic? What am I going to do? Cold, carbonated. It's freaking perfect. It's right on what I would want. It's super close to Anderson Valley's Blood Orange Gose, if anybody's had that. The other thing, when I was doing the readings went all crazy after I added the salt. So part of me wonders if adding the salt somehow changes it's obviously going to change the viscosity of the wort. I wouldn't think it'd be that much, but I wonder if it's enough to raise those gravity readings, because there's no way, well, maybe there's a way, that this finished at 1020, which is what my hydrometer says. It doesn't drink 1020. It doesn't taste 1020. Just the way this finishes in the mouth, it's under 1010. Finishing gravity. And I have a feeling just the salt was enough to skew that reading and give me mild panic attacks about this beer. Again, if I just shut up and be patient. Luckily, I didn't do anything stupid to screw it up. I just put it in a keg. Thought whatever I need to dose, I can dose into a keg. Anyway, it's a cool beer. It's an awesome beer. Hopefully, I can send some out to some of you guys so I can get some kind of feedback on it to see other people that have messed around with lactic, Berliners and Goses and stuff. See what you think. I mean, granted, I didn't do all of the work, but I put my spin, and it came out good. So anyway, big thanks to Surly. Surly's awesome. That was a cool thing, the whole wort rally and letting us, take beer home and do what we wanted with it. That was awesome. AHA is awesome. If you guys aren't members of the AHA, you totally should be because those guys are awesome. And yeah, I don't know. Thanks to my 104 people, 104 subscribers. That's nuts. It's weird. I don't know. It's weird. I'm not going to do any kind of contest or anything. If you want my beer, email me or message me or whatever, and we'll trade beers. I like trading beers. It's fun. I've actually gotten three different beer mails in the last 2 weeks, which is pretty rad. So we'll do some videos on those. You've seen some videos on them already. Anyway, patience, kids. Patience is key. And drink good beer. Happy Homebrew Wednesday. Yandu, nerds. I'm so dangerous.